Ladies, are you going to be okay if I take off my shoes? Okay, good, because this speech is all going to be about doing business in heels, all right? Let's see. They might fall. I didn't. In 1993, there was a very interesting psychological test that was done. It's called the Goldberg paradigm. Anybody ever heard of that? It's super interesting, and they do it in a lot of different ways. But I'm going to make it simple and just talk about one of the tests that they do in this paradigm. What they do is they take basically qualifications. So a page of qualifications of a person they identify as female, with a female name, and a page of qualifications that are almost entirely the same, and they put at the top of that page a male's name. And then they took that to department heads in different businesses and had them look at those two resumes, and then they tested them. Which one are you more likely to call in? And almost every single time, they were more willing to call in the man than the female. They were more likely to identify the male candidate as being qualified as compared to the female. And that was 1993. They did the same test back in 2014, and guess what? There was no significant change in the outcome of the Goldberg paradigm. All right, it will take 75 years at this pace for that gender gap to be destroyed. That pace is way too slow. And here's my real message today. All of these impressions that are out there, this kind of bad news, is entirely and flatly wrong. Because we have actually done some significant research, and we have found that having women in leadership positions in business is absolutely fabulous for business. In a 2011 study, they looked at companies where there were women CEOs. And these were Fortune 1000 and Fortune 500 companies. In the companies where the women were CEOs, those companies outperformed their peers in the S&P 500. Their revenue was 7% higher than the companies that were led by a man. Those companies that had women in the C-suites had a higher retention volume of women and diversity in their company. They had a higher growth of leadership among women in their company. And women identified themselves as being ambitious at a higher level than in the other companies. And you know what? Being ambitious, I think, is darn beautiful. What do y'all think? Okay, let's look at another criteria. What if we have a critical mass of women as members of the board of directors of the company? Okay? The critical mass is 3. 1 isn't enough. Anybody here have any women had that experience of being the only woman on a board? It's pretty daunting, okay? But when you get that critical mass of 3 or more, listen to the results that you're gonna see. Number 1, those companies outperform their peers. They have increased return on sales, higher than their peers. Their stock value grows at a higher pace than their peer companies. They have a lower risk of insolvency. And this part I really want y'all to think about. They have more women getting line experience. Okay, not just mid-management experience, which I think is crucial, but line experience. And that line experience is crucial for women to get those heels on and get all the way to CEO. Do you hear my message here? When you have more women in senior management, it's good for business. But I'm telling you this, ladies, and I guess you guys that are here too, we are the ones who can generate the next boom in the United States economy. We are the ones that can change the culture of business so that, and that changing that culture, engaging women in leadership capacities, this is going to be the next way that we can grow the future for our children, that we can make America even greater, that we can not just rely on oil booms, but we can rely on a full-scale economic growth. If we as women, we as business people, even guys, understand this, that having women leaders is good for business. I don't think it's because women are better than men that women-led businesses are so good for business. I think it's because women start to build a sisterhood. And they start growing women, they start retaining women at higher levels. They start giving women line experience. And that talent pool gets brought into the fore. So here's my message, and then I'm going to stop. Ladies, we need to continue to build that sisterhood. But my point is this. Women sometimes don't do a good job of advocating for each other, right? I mean, come on. How many times did we look at the women who were the biggest trailblazers and they were looking down at us going, make it my way? That's not the way we should be doing this job, ladies. If there's folks, if there are ladies and men that need help in the process of getting opportunity, it's our job to do that, especially sisters.